Hate on me, Jamie's on a different level as the champ of AEW. But MJF has achieved a bunch of previous success, including winning multiple Dynamite Diamond rings. But tonight, he survived a hell of a fight by beating John Moxley thanks to his ingenuity and Regal giving him the knocks to win the AEW World title. And let's just get to it, shall we? I'm John Renton with my review of AEW Full Gear 2022. Yeah, I'm doing more and more terrible music intros because why not? Why not have some fun? Okay, speaking of fun, there were elements of this pay-per-view that were fun. Also, there were matches they could have put on Dynamite and even Rampage and cut this thing down by about an hour, and the crowd might not have been so goddamn exhausted. Don't get me wrong. The New Jersey crowd in the Prudential Center, they were pretty goddamn electric. But there were some dark points to this show. There were some real dark points. There were a lot of awkward moments, but there were some good moments. I do have to wonder, though, is AEW gonna, be back on the right track? Because after All Out, hell, heading into All Out and after All Out, there were some issues. The media scrum, all that stuff and everything, and don't worry, I'll get to talking about that, but whew, yeah, that pre-show. Boy, that pre-show. Excalibur, Taz, and Shivani call 0 Hour. Horizon, 0 Hour. The Factory, QT Marshall, Lee Johnson, Nick Camarato, Aaron Solo, Noah Gogo, and Cole Carter. They took on the Best Friends. Trent, Taylor, Orange Cassidy, Rocky Romero. Just get Trent and Rocky Romero back as a team and let them go nuts. Because I know that Rocky, works on New Japan Strong. He does commentary when he can and, travels to Japan as well. He's talented, even for being a guy that has worked close to 20 years or just about. And having miles on his body, he still moves well, keeps himself in great shape. But this was just a match to get the crowd excited. You got to give the people what they want. And that's what the Factory did. And who's the mystery partner? It's Evil Danhausen with his teeth, a jar of teeth, and a spike. And there you go. Danhausen managed to win by shoving teeth down Camarado's throat and hitting a pump kick. This was stupid is what I wrote down. And then he hit QT with the spike. Renee interviews Takeshita. He is signed with AEW. You know what? The guy's talented. I really don't get the weird stuff that him and other people did in DDT Pro and in Japan in general. I don't get it, but can I knock the guy's talent in the ring? No. And he seems motivated, and you know what? His English is already pretty good. So he could have that crossover appeal. He could be just like Shida. Maybe they can book him better than Shida. Maybe they'll actually book him as opposed to what they're doing with Shida. I.e. just relegating her to AEW Dark Elevation and Dark. Ethan Page joins commentary for Starks versus Brian Cage with Prince na 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 hey hey. AEW World Title Eliminator semifinal match something or other tourney action. And look, Cage isn't bad, but good God, Vince would have loved to have him before for the World Bodybuilding Federation if the feds weren't right on him, if you know what I mean. Starks is damn good. He bumped his ass off for Cage, who hit some moves and also looked lost constantly. And he was selling his ribs because Archer attacked him on Rampage after he beat him. And then we get a spear. Cage is like, Cage just decides to, basically, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do all the flip-de-doo-dah shit. Well, he ends up missing something because of course he does because he's kind of an idiot. And we get a destroyer from Starks and Rochambeau 1, 2, 3. Starks versus Ethan Page for the right to face MJF at Winter is Coming. Yeah, MJF won the title, by the way, just in case you didn't know. AEW Fight for the Fall or Fight Forever ad. The game looks weird. I know it's supposed to have more of an arcade feel, but the graphics don't look very finished. They really don't. Let's hear it for the Jun Akiyama, as it is. And Jun Akiyama, who now wrestles in DDT Pro, but was one of the guys that was really appreciated in the 2000s in All Japan, I believe. I mean, I know I've seen some of his stuff, and look, I get it that after Baba went down, went down and unfortunately then passed away, the All Japan sort of fell into a bit of a, rocky, situation, but Jun Akiyama is talented. I haven't seen enough of his work to say, oh my god, he's absolutely one of the best ever, but I know from reputation alone, he is tough, legit tough, and can work. And Eddie Kingston got to face one of his idols, the guy that pretty much turned him on to wrestling. It meant a lot. They no-sold some stuff, hit each other with chops and drops and slop drops and a whole bunch of stuff, a whole bunch of moves, and a bunch of stuff that were basically they were just no-selling, then they were selling, then they weren't. But, it was a match that Eddie Kingston liked and wanted to have. Spinning back fist 1, 2, 3. He was emotional. Show respect. He then runs through a promo to plug the pay-per-view, tells people to buy it, and Jun Akiyama gave him a show of respect. That was cool. That was cool to see. And there's our steel cage match. JR comes out, and we are off to the races. JR was extra surly tonight. Good God, he was extra surly. They really should have used him on occasion. Use him here. Use him for the matches he could call. And they could have had him for the main event and it would have been fine. Granted, it was going on, I don't know, I think I had a birthday during this pay-per-view. And while some of it flowed, Tony Khan said this was going to end at a reasonable time. On the East Coast, it was about midnight when this show ended. Or just before. I mean, honestly. Christian shows up to introduce Luchasaurus. Whoa, 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 whoa. And it is Tarzan Boy, Jungle Boy, Jack Perry. Okay, I'm going to surprise you. Despite a couple issues I had with this match, this was one of the better matches that AEW has put on this year. Mainly because Luchasaurus decided to actually work like a monster. And it worked. He can do the athletic stuff, and it works in small doses. But him, being a heel, just throwing Jungle Boy around, even though I will say, by the way, pinfall or submission, no escaping the cage. Well, you can't win by escaping the cage. Everybody just does everything. Jungle Boy gets thrown against the wall. They took their time with some of the spots. It got a little bit junky later on, of course. They had to cut away while Jungle Boy took about 2 years to blade. And he was bleeding like crazy. He cut a little bit too deep, and he's trying to keep all the blood in his head, and he is not successful. Christian tries to get in. One of the referees gets rid of him. Security takes him away. But Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus get outside the cage, so they're trying to recreate the whole thing about Hell in a Cell with Shawn and Taker and a couple other Hell in a Cells, and even some other cage matches where you couldn't escape, but it's just, this is where the match kind of, I don't want to say ground to a halt, it just got messy, because what's the point of having a steel cage? I want you in a steel cage so nobody can interfere, so let's go outside. Even though your helper got taken away, we're just going to do all this stuff. It made no sense. We did get a chair and tables put in the ring, and Jungle Boy got tossed in the wall more. He did hit a destroyer at one point. We got a big old choke slam on a chair while Jungle Boy's mother and sister were watching, and there were a lot of big moves. There were some moves where like, okay, lad, that's a bit much. The big lizard got pile driven, I believe JR said. Man, JR just didn't give a shit during this show. I can respect it. They probably should move JR off of commentary though at this point. Table spot ends the match. It was pretty good. It was actually a pretty well-paced match, but elbow drop didn't quite make it. It looked like it was going to end really badly. I was worried that they got injured. Thankfully, it seemed all right. Snare trap, blood's pouring out and of Luchasaurus' mouth, and the tap out. So, okay, this is the end. Have Jungle Boy move on. Christian recovers. Have Jungle Boy beat him at whatever pay-per-view. If it's Revolution, fine. If it's Double or Nothing, fine. Just have him beat Christian to end this whole thing, because without the injury, this should have been the end of the feud. Unfortunately, this won't be, but at least for the time being, Jungle Boy can maybe go get, I don't know, a TNT title shot. He could go get a Ring of Honor Pure Championship shot. Give him stuff to do away from Christian, who's injured. Oh, That being said, this is pretty good. And the pay-per-view started at a high point. Unfortunately, came crashing down with the next match. Death Triangle versus the Elite, the Elite, the Elite, the Elite. That's all I gotta say about the fucking Elite. Brandon Cutler's back, great. Don NDA Callis is back. AEW Trios Championship match. Okay, so carry on my wayward son. We're gonna rub it in your face. Because we really run this place. Because Tony Khan has his face in a pile of Herb Abrams' special cookie powder. Look, there are people that like the Bucks, there are people that like Omega. That's fine. You guys can like that. Punk was probably going to go anyway, regardless of all the stuff that happened. But you know what? I don't think the Elite, even if that hadn't happened, the Elite have been exposed as being egotistical little bitches that really don't want to do anything. And this is what I noted about the match. Callis joins commentary. Hey, fuck CM Punk. It's funny. Now, Jersey is a defiant crowd, but I find it funny that there were so many crowds, multiple crowds. Maybe not everywhere. Maybe it wasn't super loud everywhere, but people clamored for CM Punk to return. And then all of a sudden he returns. And now that he's gone, now that, their precious little clubhouse is back and the little kids are running the thing, little balding kids, everybody is now all happy. It ain't all roses because the Elite aren't going to be the big draws that people think. Because guess what? They're a lot older, they're a lot more beat up, and their stuff wasn't very good to begin with. My opinion, I'm sticking to it. Notice how I haven't talked about the match. 1, Rick Knox is a terrible referee, an abysmal referee. He needs to be punched repeatedly with the referee handbook. Hit him with the referee handbook until either he stops moving or he starts refereeing properly. JR took the piss out of this, and a hammer was used after a bunch. It's the same shit you always goddamn see with a bunch of flip-de-doo-dah shit. It was 20 minutes of nonsense. Why have tags? Why enforce tags? They didn't bother to enforce tags because Rick Knox is a terrible referee. The hammer was used. Phoenix didn't want to use it, but he used it to counter the one-wing angel and then rolls up Omega 1, 2, 3. After all these moves that should have killed multiple people and killed a lot of brain cells of pretty much anybody that's an actual wrestling fan. And I'm sorry, but I'm going to dump on this because it's the same goddamn shit, because the Elite do the same goddamn shit at least 95% of the time. 5% of the time, I enjoy and will praise some of their matches. And actually say, Omega and Okada cut a really good pace, even if Okada pretty much made Omega there. And the Bucks and the Golden Lovers, and the Bucks taking on the Rhodes even on a particular AEW show. And other stuff going on. There's stuff I can enjoy, when the Bucks and Omega are involved. It's just few and far between. Also, the producer, my cat, needed food, and I decided to go feed him, and wow, shockingly, I didn't miss shit. Also, Don Callis deserves to be just ran, through a goddamn stump grinder as far as I'm concerned. So anyway, by the way, we're getting a Best of 7 series here. Tony Khan must have just woken up and realized, hey, wait a second, that's shenanigans. We can get more mileage out of this very, very, very niche match, and we can extend it. They conveniently are ignoring the January 4th episode. I wonder why. It's going to be in Seattle. Are they afraid that the Seattle crowd will boo the Elite? I don't really goddamn know. Maybe they don't want to travel to Seattle. That's okay. We don't really fucking want you guys. But anyway, nevertheless, there we go. Yeah. Death Triangle retained, so I was definitely shocked by that. But yeah, Best of 7 series. It will go to the final match in LA. Okay. So we have a lowrider entrance for Nyla with Marina Shafir, but I think that's her, but we still don't know her. And Vicky, and God, I wish that she was under that lowrider, being leveled. You want to vote for the wall? Good, you deserve to be on the goddamn floor in a puddle. I'm being mean, I don't care. Fuck Vicky Guerrero, fuck the fact that she exists. I wish Eddie was still here. So, Thundercats look for Jade. Okay, cool. Layla Gray looked great. Nyla and Jade had a match for the TBS Championship, and look, I like Nyla. I want Nyla to be utilized better. She can cut great promos. Jade looks fine. Actually has a great look. This was not good. This was not good at all. No matter how hard they tried, it just didn't work. Jaded, 1, 2, 3. That's all I have to say about that. I'm not going to fault the effort. I'm just not going to pretend like I cared about this, Because they didn't. I hope that both these women can go on to do better things. And by the way, the person that had the transphobic sign directed at Nyla, if you have children, I hope your children abandon you. That's all I'll say. And I hope that your goddamn dick falls off, and that you get gangrene. I'm being mean. Let's move on from that. So, we then get Claudio and Danielson getting pops. Sammy gets booed. Let's hear it for the Judas. Jericho absolutely sucks. That was a great sign. Claudio, Jericho, Aniston, the Insurrection God himself, Sammy, and Danielson had a 4-way ROH Championship match. Everyone does everything. Who will betray who? Sammy tried to do a bunch of stuff and got mild pops. Remember when Sammy could have gotten great pops and could have actually been something, and then he exposed himself as a goddamn idiot? Yeah, he did that here. Shout out to B_Lee with 2 E's, 253 on Twitter. Jericho getting his ass beat, back and forth between a liberal and an immigrant just seems so hilarious, right? I mean, somebody sent me that tweet because I actually hadn't heard of them before, but shout out to them. That was great shit. And they just did all the stuff they did. When Claudio and Danielson were doing stuff, it was great. Jericho's washed. Sammy is a lost goddamn cause. They just kept doing stuff, and eventually Jericho pinned Claudio. So, God, Jericho wins. Jericho Irvine wins, and the disgraced former president, Trump, is reinstated on what's left of Twitter. God, Jericho's wife must be absolutely thrilled. This was a mess. Jericho won to the shock of nobody. Saraya, defender of Abuserverse, is taking on Britt Baker. Oh boy, Saraya's first match in 5 years. She was emotional. Good, I'm glad. I'm really glad. I'm glad she didn't end up in Traction. And this is, look, I know they were taking it easy, but go back and look at her matches. Her best match was against Emma. Emma, one of the premier workers of the last 10 years. Saraya, Paige, whatever, was always, honestly, it was smoke and mirrors because maybe she was always just this average. This was a lot of kicking out of stuff. Britt, she wasn't taking liberties like hurting Saraya, defender of Abuserverse, but it lagged. It wasn't good. And Saraya won. Whatever. I didn't care. I'm glad she wasn't in Traction. I didn't care. Wardlow, Hobbs, and Samoa Joe had a 3-way TNT Championship match. Big meaty men slapping meat. And Wardlow doing an insane flipping swanton like, or whisper in the wind. I can do this. And there were guys just doing big old stuff and big old monster stuff. And Joe is still so good. Hobbs is good. Joe cracks Wardlow with the championship after just a muscle-up powerbomb. And then covers Hobbs, 1, 2, 3. Samoa Joe is a 2-time champion, and Wardlow didn't get pinned. Interesting. Didn't think they were going to give that to Samoa Joe, but you know what? Fine. Bit odd. They kind of booked themselves into a corner here. Shivani is with Jericho and Hager. Orange Cassidy says, hey, I have a friend, Tomohiro Ishii, that wants to face you. Tomohiro Ishii versus Jericho. Tomohiro Ishii in his sleep could beat Chris Jericho. And also Hager versus Orange Cassidy, where they insult his hat. Jake Hager is upset because people insulted his hat. I'm more insulted that Jake Hager exists on my television. JR, he goes away for the rest of the show. Shivani joins commentary. Jarrett has a bunch of guys dressed like Sting, and good God, it's Halloween Havoc 2000. When they did everything and made the referees seem stupid, even though that was the last pay-per-view I believe that Vince Russo had anything to do with. Fuck Vince Russo, by the way. Fuck his parents for giving birth to him. Halloween Havoc 2000 all over again. It's Sting showing up from behind, and it's suddenly an anything goes match. Why? Because Sting really can't do all that much, and he tried, and he took some bumps, but Sting, spinal stenosis for a reason. It was Darby and Sting versus Lethal and Jarrett. And the TNA chants broke out because, of course, Giant Silva Jr. was there. Sanjay Dutt was running around in a jacket so loud that a gay man in the vast reaches of space in another universe could goddamn hear and see it. And Darby just gets tossed around by Giant Silva Jr. They fight through the crowd. They do all this stuff. It's just the same goddamn mess of a match that we've seen. bless Sting for wanting to earn his money. He's not just going to take the money and just phone it in, but god damn it. Darby no-sells a guitar shot. There was a really awkward landing where Sting tries to do the Scorpion Death Drop catch to Lethal, and it was really awkward. Oof. And Coffin Drop 1, 2, 3. I think Sting's about done. I think he is. I mean, he's 63 years old. He had nothing left to prove, like, before he went to goddamn TNA. The first time, when he made those few appearances in 2003. So yeah, there you go. That was certainly a match. What wasn't just a match was Jamie Hayter versus Toni Storm for the AEW Interim Women's Championship. That is, and my goodness, totally fine during this. How dare any of you accuse me of otherwise? I wasn't. This is great. These two talented women where Jamie was over like a god, and Toni Storm looked kind of upset. Almost like she knew she was going to lose. Now, I will not say that there was no effort in this match, because there was. There was serious effort in this. I mean, Toni Storm was putting in the effort. Jamie Hayter was a goddamn star here. I was a little bit worried the interference was going to bother me. They laid their shit in. Good strikes. Rebel comes down and eventually gets kicked out because she hits Toni with the belt, but Jamie's like, what the hell are you doing? Because the referee didn't see it. So then suddenly somebody stomps Toni on the belt. It's Britt. Oh my goodness, this was getting a little bit messy. So we get a Storm 0, 1, 2 kick out. A couple too many kickouts, I will say, in a variety of these matches. That being said, the women were taking it seriously. There was a lot of worry. Oh my god. Britt lost to Saraya, Defender of Abusiverse, and is going... I'll stop saying that when Saraya, Defender of Abusiverse, stops being stupid. Stops being goddamn stupid. Anyway, Britt does a turnbuckle pad thing, but then she suddenly is over the turnbuckle pad. Like, oh my god, it's exposed. Here's Jamie, and boom. We get a collision. It looks like Toni's going to win. Nope. Ripcord Lariat. Haterade 1, 2, 3. New champion, interim champion, Jamie Hayter. Good. Jamie Hayter more than deserves to be strapped. I wish she... Never mind. But I honestly, God, throw me. Just throw me around. I don't care. Throw me, scream at me. Moving on. Jamie Hayter, tremendous talent. Had a hell of a goddamn year in AEW. Look into stuff, the clips of stuff she's done in Stardom, a couple of years ago. Great. She's super talented. I'm so happy for her. She was very over. It's going to end up being like a Randy Orton situation where, Evolution does the whole thing and turns over, and Jamie's going to be the face because Britt's going to end up being the heel, because Britt works better as a heel, in all honesty. But good stuff. This is good. What I wanted to like, and what was good, but also was a little bit too long, was the Acclaim versus Swerve in Our Glory. Max Caster does a double wrap. You can check that out on their YouTube channel. AEW World Tag Team Championship match, and Bowens had a hurt arm. That came into play, where he kept getting targeted for a while. Caster got the hot tag. Lee seemed a little bit more motivated here. That was good. He did have a couple bad landings. I hope he's all right. Swerve, tremendous. He was the only true heel here. My goodness. Next to MJF, I think he was the best heel. Excuse me. Best heel on the show. He was just great. After Caster goes all crazy, even Swerve took a nice backdrop on the hot tag. We get some good near falls, and then it kept going, and then Swerve eventually got the pliers out. After, he was trying to do something, and Billy tried to come down, but he missed, and Swerve kicked him, and security stopped him, so it wouldn't be a DQ. But he had the pliers, the clippers that he would use to break, like the wire cards he would use to break the hands. Handed it to Lee, and Lee basically ends up saying, no, I don't want to do that. Swerve slaps him, and Lee decides to be Keith, leaves, and now nobody's watching. I can just continue to say whatever. He does that, and we get... I don't know what the hell the finisher was that the Acclaimed hit. 1, 2, 3. Swerve gets pinned. Few too many kickouts. Few too much. But Acclaimed won. That's important. Hopefully Bones is just selling his injury. Give him a little time off if need be. Therapy. This is a team they could rock it for a while. At least till Revolution. I'd have them hold the tag team championships until Double or Nothing. But they deserve to hold them at least until Revolution. Which is next pay-per-view. So Dynamite, Death Triangle versus Elite, Best of 7 series. And by the way, in case you're wondering why I haven't referenced the media scrum, I'll tell you why. I'm not watching the media scrum. Yeah, I didn't watch it last time when All Out and all that bullshit, the All Out Fallout happened. But you know why? I don't care. I don't care. I don't care about the media scrum. You know why I don't care about the goddamn media scrum? It's a bunch of people pat themselves on the goddamn back, and that's it. That's all they're doing. All they're goddamn doing. They're good on them. I hope the talents are all right. I hope nobody's injured. But Tony Khan can't manage a goddamn Pizza Hut, let alone or a wrestling company. He just can't manage anything. So anyway, Death Triangle versus Elite, Best of 7. And then we get Ethan Page versus Starks. Winner faces MJF for At Winter Is Coming. Cassidy versus Hager. Ishii versus Jericho. MJF gets a big reaction. Even Motorboat's a woman in the crowd. Why? I don't know. Wild thing, you make Prudential sing. And Regal came out with Mox, and then Regal left. Regal didn't join commentary. MJF versus Moxley, AEW World Title match. And what this was is Moxley being aggressive, playing up the heel. Persona, because MJF was being cheered despite all the heelish stuff he was doing. And then were fuck you Moxley chants. And we did get a table being brought out, the ringside table. And then we get a tombstone on the apron. MJF sells his knee, gets pile driven through the goddamn table. Apparently no DQ. Apparently the referee's like, okay, it happened outside the ring. I can't do anything about it. It's like New Japan refs. Yeah, if somebody gets shot outside the ring, they got a 20 count to get back in. So then near count out and pair of dimes shift, 1, 2, then a figure 4 on MJF. He keeps targeting the knee, keeps doing this. MJF's trying to fight back, doesn't up, he keeps selling his left knee. Huge avalanche paradigm shift, but Mox hurt his shoulder. 1, 2, and MJF gets just a few fingers, just a couple fingers right here to tickle it right under the rope. And Mox is like has his shoulder hurt, and MJF gets the Dynamite Diamond Ring out of his tights. He's conflicted. He's about to do it, and then he's gonna do it. Then Regal comes down. Don't you do it? Don't you even think about it. You do this the way you're supposed to. He throws it away, flips him off. And MJF, mind you, the first referee's down, a second referee gets bumped, because of course they do. Mox is choking him out. He's doing all this stuff. The choke out, the tap, but there's no referee. The referee's not quite coming to. I think it's Bryce Ramsberg. He's not quite coming. And then Mox is down, still like, what the hell's going on? He's like checking on the referee. And Regal takes the knucks and slips him to MJF. Boom. 1, 2, 3. Huge pop. New champion, MJF. MJF gets all the throbbing adulation he deserves, and I guarantee you this, the Elite are going to try to undercut him. Because he is one of those homegrown guys that can carry that company, because they sure as fuck can't carry that company. A little bit worried there. That being said, MJF, new world champion. Jamie Hayter, new AEW interim women's champion. Give me Hayter versus Thunderstorm, or Thunder Rosa at some point. In a match, I want to see that. That could be great. Give them 20 minutes. I would love to see that. They had a great match before. That being said, there were some good moments, but there were some messy moments. What did you guys think of Full Gear overall? Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.